So we got a John Deere 425 working on. Go to pull it in and it just sounds like it doesn't have any power whatsoever to me. Customer said it bogs down in any sort of grass or under any sort of load. We're going to start it up and figure out exactly what's going on, and I'm going to show you the easiest way to diagnose this issue. So go ahead and kick the parking brake on. So it still runs okay. Well, runs anyway. It does work, but it bogs down. You can hear it if you have a trained ear. It just doesn't sound like it has any power. It could be caused from a few different issues. On this, we did verify that the fuel was good. We took that from the inlet and went ahead and took it off. I'll show you here. So that's at the other side, but we went ahead and took the inlet off. The breather's not attached down at the bottom, but that's not a huge deal. We took it off at the other side, so we're down here to the engine. I'll show you where we took it off from. So the fuel line coming in, we did go ahead and take that off, and all we did is took it off at the carburetor right here. And we put that in a glass jar just to verify that the fuel quality was good, since we didn't know what the fuel quality was. We did go ahead and drain it, put some our good fuel in. You just never trust fuel that you're not sure of the origin of. So that's where we started. Still, it's getting good fuel. Something else is going on with the unit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and test each cylinder independently. Since we verified that the fuel was good. Choking it doesn't, if you choke it or add a little bit of choke while you're bogging down like that and it comes out of it, a lot of times that'll be an issue with the carburetor or with the fuel supply or something like that. This thing was just rebuilt last year as far as the carburetor goes. So we know that's solid, or at least it should be, unless they were using horrible gas and the gas that was in it wasn't too bad. So it goes without saying, before you do any of this testing, you definitely want to go ahead and check your oil level. Make sure there's no gas or anything sitting in it. That should go without saying anytime you start any small engine. Check the fluids. It only takes a second. You know, make sure you got plenty of antifreeze in it. Make sure nothing's mixed in with one another, either oil in the antifreeze or antifreeze in the oil. It happens a lot on these, and it doesn't take long to run them and ruin something. So just be aware of that as you're testing anything. That's always the first thing you should do running anything here. So we're going to go ahead and plug this back in, disconnect the other side, fire it up. Okay, so with this one disconnected, it does not want to fire up. I just went ahead and plugged it back in on the other side. with that one plugged in on the other side, it starts and it runs good again. So by running good, I mean with lack of power and everything else. But we know this cylinder's not doing anything. So you can go two places from here. You can open your valve cover, it's just 4 bolts, pop it off. Make sure neither one of your push rods are bent, or that the spacing on the valves or anything is bad. That's all fine and dandy, you can do that, but that's a little bit more than what we're gonna look for here. I'd look for spark first. We can go ahead and check that with either a spark tester. Otherwise, you can take the plug out, make sure the plug's good, that it's not fouled out or anything like that, not real wet with fuel. These plugs were replaced, I think, about a year ago too, so I don't think they use this thing a whole lot, but they look fine. You can check them against the block again, otherwise you can use a spark tester. This one's real nice, but it'll just flash green if it's going good, if it's sparking well. So the engine started up there, I've still got nothing. That's a red light that we're showing. That means that this unit's not getting any spark. So there's 2 wires here that go to the coil. Now you can test the ohms resistance on that if you'd like. I think the values are pretty readily available online. Usually I think it's between 4.5 to 5.5 ohms, somewhere in there. I'm not sure. This tester seems like it's dead. I'm not sure if I got another one handy. Either way, if you're in the field and like I'm showing here, that you run into a situation where you don't have a tester, or where you need an easy diagnostic of this, the easiest way is just to flip the coils around. If you're thinking maybe the coil pack's bad, take this coil off, switch it around to the other side, and do that test again. See if it's opposite now. If it is, then you know you have an issue with the coil pack. So luckily I have a extra one just kind of laying around here. I think it's good anyway, but we're gonna go ahead and see if switching that out solves our problem. See if it is in fact the coil pack here. It's an easy diagnostic without any really tools except for a 5/16. Oops. We're just going to take the 2 bolts off here. And then the whole assembly comes out. And what we're going to do, pay attention to the orientation, exactly how it goes on there. Niter goes up. So just like this. And I'm going to take 1 wire off at a time, keep it the same way, and transfer it directly over. So otherwise you run into a situation where it's possible you can get them mixed up. I'm not sure. It's kind of hard to get off of there. Yeah, if you pull them both off same time, it's all fine and dandy. I like to put everything back on the same post. Seems to work better that way. All right. Now again, if you have a tester, you can go ahead and get the ohm rating on these. I'm almost positive, like the last good one I had was around 4.5 or so. And you're just taking the wires off, disconnect everything, and you'll test against the 2 terminals. Super easy to do. All right. Let's go ahead and put this thing on. So we'll go ahead and fire this thing up and see what we got. Good spark on this side now. That's definitely good news. So what that tells us is that that other side, what that tells us is that other side coil, you know, here was definitely bad. That replacement did the trick. So that's going to solve our issue. Now if we start it back up, I'm sure everything will run at full throttle pretty good. sounds like we might be going a little bit fast as far as the RPMs are set or something like that, but everything else is working great. That's definitely how to tell, you know, if your coil's bad. Really the only other thing that'll cause that to happen, the pickups will go bad here, and then they'll not tell one side or the other to spark. That's the only way you get fire on one other than the other, besides the board. The board can also be bad, and you can test that. They have parameters online to test the ohms resistance back through the different connectors on the boards, and that'll tell you whether those are bad. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.